What's up everyone, it's Voodoo 51292 and welcome to another one of my honest and thorough game reviews where I basically take you guys through a game that I recently played, give you all the ins and outs, and give you my honest and fair score rating for the game out of 10 at the end of it. And we're actually going to do a new release, or a relatively new release. This game came out, I want to say last week, so it may be a week and a couple days old or something like that, but it's one of the rare games that I've actually finished so far in 2012. And the question is, does this game continue along the same vein as most of the games in 2012 and be generic and shitty, or does the game actually give me renewed hope for the year of 2012? Well, we're going to answer that question as we take a look at Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. And I played this game, for the most part, 3-player co-op with 2 of my friends, because the campaign is, you can play up to 4 people co-op, and for every person that you don't have playing, they fill in an AI teammate. And the campaign of the game is basically just 7 missions. It's not really, it is a continuing story, but it's not, there's 7 unique missions that you play. Now, for the plot of Operation Raccoon City, I would love to tell you really what it's about, but there's a couple reasons why I can't. First of all, the game kind of throws back to a lot of old references to older Resident Evil games. And for myself, I've never played a Resident Evil game before, and so I didn't know a lot of the references. I know a couple of the characters, a couple of the enemies that are common in Resident Evil just because I've heard their names or seen them in fighting games, for instance. Like Marvel vs. Capcom, but I don't really know much at all about the Resident Evil story. So not only that, but also playing the game co-op, I really wasn't paying too much careful attention to the storyline because I was busy joking around or talking to my friends or whatever. But from what I'm to basically gather, the big overarching point of the game is to basically the T-virus, which I assume is the virus that turns people into zombies. Again, I don't know because I haven't played Resident Evil. Gets loose in Raccoon City, and your squad of 4 people is, I believe, hired by the corporation Umbrella, who I'm sure is big in Resident Evil, I don't know, to basically cover up their involvement in the T-virus escaping. And there's some, like I said, some classic characters from previous Resident Evils, and some references and things like that in the game. But there are 7 of these missions, and as I said, you do play them 4-player co-op, either with real people or AI teammates, and each, there's different characters that you can pick, and each of them have special abilities that you can unlock, and as you go through each mission, you gain experience, and each person gets a rating, a letter grade, after each mission as to how well you did, and you gain experience and you level up. Now, from what what I noticed was it doesn't really make a difference at all what level you are in the game. It doesn't seem to matter. You don't get anything special for leveling up, it seems. All that matters is how much XP you accumulate, because the XP is how you buy better guns, how you buy your abilities that your special character can use. They each have 3 active abilities, which means you actually have to actively use that ability for it to work, or passive abilities, which just happen naturally in the course of the game. Now, you can upgrade these abilities with more XP. So it seems like XP is pretty much all that matters. It didn't seem to make one bit of difference what level you were. You didn't seem to unlock anything as you leveled up, from what I noticed. Now, the game is short. The game is, I would say, if you play each mission and you beat it the first time you play it, I would say this game is probably about 4 hours long. Okay, but we died a lot, and so it took us just over 5 hours because we had to replay a lot of missions. But if you beat every mission the first time, it'd probably be more around 4 hours. So the campaign is very short. And so let me talk about it a little bit. Talk about some good things, talk about some bad things. Well, the good thing is that it is co-op, I will say that. And games like this are usually a lot more fun co-op, simply because co-op can turn a game that is really bad into a game that's not necessarily good, but more enjoyable because you are playing it with friends, and if the game is bad, you can make fun of the game, you can laugh at the game, just have fun playing with other people. And this is certainly the case in this game. This is not a game that you're going to want to play by yourself, trust me, and I'll get into why. But it's good that it is co-op, okay? And I guess it's good if you are a fan of Resident Evil that there are all these references to previous Resident Evil games, Resident Evil characters, because if you're a fan of the series of games, you'll probably enjoy those references. But keep in mind that this game was published by Capcom, but it's not made by the same development team that makes, the numbered Resident Evil games. So the mainstream Resident Evil games, it's not the same people. It's the same people who made SOCOM, and from what I'm understanding, the people who made SOCOM just got shut down. So it's not, don't expect it to be the kind of game that the mainstream line of Resident Evil games are. It's definitely not the same. So it is good that it is co-op. Other than that, I don't. Unfortunately, there's nothing that's good that really jumps off at me. There's a lot of bad though. There's a lot of negative involved with the game, and there's a bunch of different ones. So I'm just going to try to remember all the complaints I had, and hopefully I get everything. But the first one is that basically overall, the game is extremely generic, and there is nothing special about this game. There's nothing that's new. There's nothing that's anything you haven't seen before. You've played this game before, okay? I mean, it's very generic, and you have your generic weapon sets, your assault rifles, your pistols, your shotguns, and there's different kinds. You can unlock better ones with your XP, but it's for the most part extremely generic gameplay. It's very repetitive gameplay. You're really not going to be doing anything except moving from area to area, killing the same generic enemies, the same zombies that all look the same. I mean, you have police zombies. Every single one of them looks exactly the same. You've got regular zombies, and there's only like 2 or 3 different character types, and there's a bunch of clones of them. I mean, it's horrible. It's all the same generic repetitive enemies. You'll have a couple of different variations, like you'll have liquor enemies who shoot their tongues at you, and you'll have a couple of bigger enemies, but they're all very generic compared to a game like Dead Island, where in Dead Island all the zombies looked amazingly detailed. They all looked different. They all looked like their own people, and depending on where you were in the game, whether on the tropical island or in the city or whatever, they all looked specific to that area, and they all looked unique and different. Whereas in this game, it's extremely generic, and there's only maybe, of the normal zombie types, there's probably only like 5 maybe character models, and they just put a bunch of clones of them on the screen, and it's really boring. And you really don't do anything different than that. You just go from room to room, area to area, killing generic zombies over and over and over again. And sometimes you'll have to fight this special forces team. I don't know who they are, but they have guns, and every single one of them looks exactly the same as well. Very boring. It's basically just running room to room, killing generic enemies, and trying to heal each other, because you can revive your teammates when they're down, just like you pretty much would be able to do in any co-op game. So that really is disappointing, that it's so generic and boring. Other than that, I mean, there's just a lot of little problems with the game that shouldn't be there in a game in 2012. These are mistakes that are like early 2000s, where the game has a lot of bugs. Like you'll get stuck in corners. You'll kind of like clip into the wall or something, and you can't move. You'll get stuck, and you'll just get owned by zombies. You'll be in cover, and it won't really be cover. You'll still be getting hit. The camera will do really stupid things because it's over the shoulder third person, so a lot of times You know, if you're surrounded by zombies, or you're against a wall, the camera will go crazy and you can't see what the hell's happening. The lighting in the game is just awful. I mean, the lighting is terrible. I mean, you can't. It's so dark for most of the game that you can't see what the hell is happening. You really just have no idea what's going on the screen. You know, they just stupid things like the fact that every action in the game is the same button. I played it on the 360, so every single action was the A button. Everything. And that includes picking up weapons, picking up anything, any item to pick up, interacting with anything was A, and the most frustrating thing was to revive was also A. But of course the problem with that is, and this is a problem that they should have figured out from, I don't know, 10 years ago, is that if your teammate is lying dead on the floor and there's things around him like ammo or guns on the floor, you'll go up to revive him and you have to find the sweet spot, because most of the time it's A to pick up a gun. When you're trying to hit A to revive your teammates, you'll either be switching out guns, which you don't want to do, or you can't revive them in time and you die because you're trying to look for that sweet spot where A is to revive instead of picking up another weapon. I mean, it's stupid. And the plot, I mean, even though I didn't completely understand it, you can tell. It's very just dry, generic plot. I mean, it's very short, and the ending is terrible. I mean, the game just ends. There's no, like, explanation of the ending. Nothing like that. The game just ends. The graphics are not that impressive. I mean, in the cutscenes, they're impressive, but in the actual gameplay, they're really not that great. The gameplay is just annoying. I mean, you'll be fighting a bunch of enemies, like a bunch of these liquor enemies that will shoot their tongues and hit you with their tongues, and you'll have to wiggle the stick to break out, and you'll be running, and 2 seconds later they'll hit you again, you'll have to wiggle the stick. You'll be fighting these enemies called hunters, which are these big, like, reptile-looking things, but they're completely badly programmed. I mean, they can jump like 20 feet through the air, apparently, and slash you, and sometimes they'll jump right at you and slash, and it won't count that they hit you, but then sometimes they'll jump like 3 feet to your left, and the game says that they hit you. I mean, it's just stupid. And I mean, the aiming is not very accurate in the game. It's not good. It's just very bland, very generic, and very poorly made, in my opinion. Not much effort at all put into this game. And I mean, I don't understand. You know, so the answer is, it fits the mold in 2012. It's a bad game. And, I don't know. I don't even think the game is average. I think it's below average, because you can tell that they just didn't put any effort into the game. I mean, I don't know. It's not good. And they do the bare bones. They do the bare bones minimum. You know, it's not like you have any really cool weapons. It's not like you have cool abilities. Like, all the abilities for the guy that I picked sucked. I never used them. They were all like the same thing. They were like, one was like find items. Like, you can do that on your own. All you have to do is look. They glow when you look at them. Another one was biothermal vision, which allowed you to kind of see in the dark. Which they should have just had a flashlight feature, since the game was so freaking dark. That was stupid. And I mean, they were just bad abilities. They weren't fun. And we died a bunch of times, especially in the last level, just because of cheap bullshit. There's another mechanic in the game where you get infected by other zombies, and when that happens, you're infected for a period of time, and during that period of time, you're okay, but zombies won't attack you, and you can just go and kill a bunch of zombies. Now, if you don't have antiviral spray, or one of your teammates doesn't spray you with antiviral spray in a certain amount of time, you become a zombie, and you lose control of your character, and your character will run around and attack your teammates, and then your teammates have to kill you, and then revive you. And it's just really annoying, because sometimes you'll get infected and no zombie will touch you. Other times zombies will walk up and bite you and you don't get affected. And it's like infected, and it's completely random. It's not consistent. It's really annoying because you're trying to fight all the enemies on the screen, and then all of a sudden you have to worry about one of your teammates being infected, especially when it's the AI, because we had one AI teammate, and of course they don't have voice communication, so they don't let you know when they're infected. So you'll be killing a bunch of zombies, and all of a sudden your AI teammate will run up and start attacking you and hit you, and then you get infected, and it's like, what the it's just really annoying, repetitive, generic gameplay. Not much effort put into this at all, and it's really a shame because, again, I just want to play a good game in 2012, and so far I've only played one, which was The Darkness 2. Other than that, everything else I've played, Twisted Metal, Syndicate, this game, Operation Raccoon City, I've heard Silent Hill Downpour, all have been just not good games. And I don't know what's the deal with this year. I don't know why people can't seem to get a good game on the market. The first quarter of 2012 was a complete bust, except for Darkness 2. Other than that, it's been a bust, and this game is just another bust. Now, tonight we did complete the campaign finally, and we tried to go online and play a couple of modes of multiplayer, and what we played was called the Heroes mode, where you just basically pick two different teams of people, and you go one-on-one against one another, and there's zombies on the screen too. And it's exactly like the campaign. Really no difference, except that it's just a competitive multiplayer mode. And the entire time, Brandon and I were on the same team, and Travis was basically by himself. The whole time, he just basically abused a mechanic of the game where you can do a shoulder rush into somebody, knocking them down. But here's the problem. The period of recovery time from the shoulder rush is less than the period of recovery time from when you get knocked down. So you can literally sit there and spam that all day, and he did that. Like, you can shoulder rush somebody, and then when you get up, you can't move right away. The window isn't, the recovery window it takes a little while. So by the time that you're up and able to move, he's already has his shoulder rush recovered. He can just keep rushing you, and you can't move. By the time you get up, you can't move. He'll come and do a shoulder rush, and he can keep doing that all day. And what's even worse is that when you're knocked down with the shoulder rush, he can shoot you. So literally all you have to do in multiplayer is run over a guy one time with your shoulder rush, and then just keep shooting him while he's down. Every time he gets up, keep shoulder rushing him, and there's nothing you can do about it. And he'll just shoot you and fuck you up and kill you. I mean, I don't understand where the programmers went wrong with this game. Like, why did they think all this shit was a good idea? Because none of it is. It's badly made. Now, is the game completely worthless? No, the game's not completely worthless. For one, it is playable. We did beat the game, so it's better than Brink. I have yet to play a game that... I mean, the only thing that would even come close would be Syndicate. That was pretty bad. I mean, that game was close to Brink, and if I had to compare the two, I don't know who would win for the shittiest. But it's definitely better than Brink and Syndicate. Definitely better than those games. Because it works. I mean, the console didn't freeze on me once. It didn't have game-breaking bugs. So the game does function properly, but there's just not any substance here. I mean, a 4 to 5 hour long campaign and a couple of multiplayer modes that aren't any different than really the campaign. I mean, for $60, that's ridiculous. It's not worth $60, maybe $30, but I certainly wouldn't pay $30 for that game. I might pay $15 if it was another game that, in all honesty, should have been released as a $15 downloadable title. This game has no business being a $60 release. So if you're thinking about spending $60 on it, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's bad. Okay, it's just a bad game. It's not worthless because there is some fun to be had playing this game with your friends, killing zombies, and making fun of it. I mean, it's definitely fun through maybe the first few chapters, maybe the first 3 or 4, but then by the end of the game you're just so aggravated and frustrated and you're so bored by doing the same stuff over and over that it stops being funny and you start getting pissed off and you just want to beat the game, and it's no longer fun to sit there and make fun of the computer or make fun of the game, because it's just like, okay, I'm really bored, I'm really getting pissed off, and I just want to beat the game. So, bottom line, Operation Raccoon City is a stinker. it's a shame. But again, the game is not 100% worthless. So when it comes down to a final rating for the game, I'm going to give Operation Raccoon City a shitty 4.5 out of 10. It's not even an average game. If it was an average game, it would have simple things like lighting so that you could see where the hell you were going. It would have, it would not do stupid shit like, getting stuck in corners, being glitched out in corners, zombies being glitched out on walls, badly programmed AI, If it was an average game, it would have at least some of those problems fixed, and it would at least make you feel like you're playing a game from 2012. Because honestly, playing this game felt like I was playing a game from like 2002 or 2005. If I played that game blind and didn't know it came out this year, I definitely wouldn't think it did come out this year. So it is definitely below average for 2012. A 4.5. Do not spend $60 on Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. You will be disappointed with yourself. So again, the search continues for a game other than The Darkness 2 in 2012 that's worth anything. And so far, we haven't had one. So, alright, that's it. That's all I have to say. That is my review of Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. I hope that you found the review informative to you and helps aid you with your decision. The game may be worth a rental if you have 3 or 4, or if you have 2 or 3 friends who you want to play it with. Problem is that the game does not have local multiplayer. You all have to own a copy of the game. So all 3 of you or 4 of you would have to rent the game. So that may not even be worth it. So just don't spend $60 on the game. You'll hate yourself. Alright? So I'm Voodoo 51292. Thank you guys for watching. And I really hope that coming in the future this year, I'll have a game review that's actually good for you. But we'll have to see. So thanks guys, and I will see you next time.